Total faith in the police dive team. We work with them all the time. So, I think, Jeremy, after I heard today how the police were here so quickly to search that area where it's believed where Nicola went in, I personally don't think she's in the river. That's just my gut instinct at this point. I may be proved wrong later on, but the police have done a fantastic search already with their existing resources, plus their sonar. Now we've got our sonar. We're searching where the bench is tomorrow up the river. So we're going to go back over that area. Not that the police haven't done it, but we're just going to go further up the river tomorrow to try and, rule this river out. And then we are focusing on the area upstream from the weir, which is non-tidal, and going about a mile upstream, and this includes the area that where the phone was found, Nicola's phone was found on the bench. I must state that was thoroughly searched on the day by police divers when Nicola went in, and these are very professional divers, and they never found nothing. And that's the odd thing about this. That's what I can't get my head around. It's very strange.
So Peter, we saw in Danny's report just then that you're using this different equipment, sort of sonar kit. Do you think that maybe taking that back to the original scene where the phone was, does that give you the opportunity to look in greater detail in different areas?
Yes, John, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back over the area just in case, we don't know for certain that Nicola's in the river, but if she went further in up, she could drift down by now. So we are going to go back over the original area that was searched twice by the police. Sonar will image the riverbed and see everything what's laying down there, sticks, stones, everything. So if Nicola is there, we will find yesterday sort of ruled that area out, but now we're going back to the sort of key area where all the evidence that we've got so far was found. Well, we're trying to rule out this section of the river, working closely with the police, and obviously the hot spot is where the phone was found. That was a thorough police diving operation was carried out the same day that Nicola went in. They couldn't find anything there, but we're just doing the lower part of the river here. We've got a couple of tree obstacles in the way, which we've seen, what needs to be checked, and then we going up the river again right the way round to up around the top field. So we've ruled out every possibility.
How convinced are you that Nicola was in the river?
Everything is leading us to the river at the moment, and if we don't find her in the next couple of days in this section of the river, then I will be totally baffled.
You mentioned you think there could well be a third party involved.
Well, if Nicola's not in the river, then something else is happening somewhere, but I can't, that's down to the detective, the police to look at that. That's,
And you've had conversations with Paul, Nicola's partner?
Yeah, I spoke to Paul last night, a long conversation with Paul. We were just chatting. I'm just keeping the family updated, really, which is really important at this time. They're going through a very, very difficult time at the moment. So they need to get information, and obviously they're hanging at the moment on a thread and not knowing what's going on. So I'm just trying to keep them informed.
And at what stage are you going to say she's not here?
In this section of river, over the next couple of days, I can sort of say that, she's not in this part of the river. It's a mind-boggling one, this one. We're dealing with the unknown here, so we're looking for something that may not be here. The phone was found on the bench, there's leads there, and normally she would be found by now. It's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one. Police have done a very thorough dive search, and they were here straight away that day when Nicola went in, and normally you would expect to find Nicola at the bottom. It's a mind-boggling one, this one. If someone said to me today there's a witness drowning and there's a person, they'd gone in this river section, I'd find them within the hour, no problem at all. But we're dealing with the unknown here, so we're looking for something that may not be here. My gut feeling at the moment, we're still treating it as Nicola's in the river, and that's why we're here. And I know I keep changing my mind, but it's like, I don't know. I wish I knew. Divers will be going back in to clear a few bits where we can't quite get in with the sonar, absolutely. May or may not be in the river, but who will know until we've cleared the river, really. Well, the only sort of evidence we've got here is the phone by the water. That's it. So we're going by a mobile phone and a dog lead. Speaking to the family in the evening, basically. I spoke to a long chat with Paul last night, and just dealing with Paul last night, yeah.
This was the area that you wanted to search on day one?
That's correct.
So you would have made that discovery after 6 minutes of arriving on the scene?
Yes,
overall?
That's correct.
It's very interesting. You've stated on a few occasions that if a body is discovered in water using a side scan sonar, there's no mistaking that it is indeed that of a body. And that is backed up in your book, where there's a very clear image of a body in a river. So when you made the discovery, the target in the River Wyre, were you 100% sure that's what it was?
I was totally sure that took human form straight away, and it needed to be dived straight away.
Right.
Because it was the shadows of 2 arms, 2 legs, whatever, that needed an immediate dive.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do. When I contacted the police search advisor, I said, we need to put divers in now. We'll put our divers in. But he refused that request, and he said, you're not to dive, we will dive.
Did you believe the discovery of the target to be Nicola, going off the size of it?
I did.
Straight away?
Straight away, yeah.
Can you tell us exactly where this target was found and how far, more importantly, from the bench was it? I think people will be very interested to know where this target was actually found.
The target was found approximately 75 metres from the bench.
75 metres?
75 metres, just down the river from the bench, which again fits the pattern really of a person who is however she got in the river, and we'll never know, but whether she fell in or she was pushed in or I don't believe she jumped in, but it was one of these. She's in the right area.
So had the police and other search teams already searched that area where you found Nicola prior to you searching?
Yes, it had been searched thoroughly. I was told that police divers had searched it 3 times.
See, that amazes me that there was 8 to 10 days of searching and she was 75 metres away. That's baffling.
It's
like I said, I wanted to see these images for myself. And I asked Peter Faulding, after I'd spoken with him, and he agreed without hesitation, and we set some time aside. Now, he wanted me to see all the images with the time date stamp and the live data, and he insisted on the live data. And he explained that his kit was the best kit available. It's software that he uses from America, and that no one else has this kit in the UK. So that's also interesting, because what were those experts looking at this data on? Was it just a still PDF image? But you need to see the live data. I now have. Now, I'm not an expert on sonar, okay? This isn't my field of expertise, so full disclosure. But Peter Faulding did say that anyone would be able to see that, with an untrained eye, that there was a body. And again, that was a very bold claim to make, and I wanted to call him on it. I wanted to call him out on it. If you make those claims, prepare to. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's important to check and corroborate. Now, we did jump on to talk about it, and he put the live data up. And what I saw, first of all, from the live data was the boat moving along the river on one side and the actual image in the centre of the screen. And Peter oriented me and described what I was seeing on screen. So firstly, so I could understand, this was the boat tracking towards the bench, and then approximately 75 metres away from the bench, there was a dark shadow. Now, I could see the dark shadow, but I didn't really know what I was looking at on the screen, as in it's a dark shadow, and I had it up on a high definition. I've got lots of monitors here, high definition 27-inch monitor, and it doesn't matter what you actually view these images onto. And I asked him lots of questions, as I always do, about what he was showing me. I was looking for the time date stamps, and he explained the shadows are only created if there is an item or an object, i.e. if there's nothing there, there's no shadow. So it's just not possible for it to be a shadow on the screen and literally be nothing, as was stated in the report, that it was nothing. Then I could see the actual outline of what looked like a person. And the person looked like they were lying on their side with their knees pulled into them, into their stomach, and their bottom raised. So it was like they were kneeling, but on the side, with their arms out in front of them, but on the side. And Peter changed the image colours, like the actual outline of the image. And when it was outlined in white or a yellowy gold or blue, it was even more clear to me. It really popped. And I can tell you my interpretation of what I saw, without Peter telling me, was that it looked like a female body. And I know the ramifications of saying that. And I questioned him and I challenged him. He told me that since he had measured the length of the body, and the measurements were 1.61 metres in total, which is the same height as Nicola. Now, that's very distressing to learn. And Peter also showed me 4 pages of notes and sketches that were made. They were his notes, and one of his team members drew the sketches of the river. Now, they weren't to scale. There was a time date stamp on each, and I looked for those things. And the notes and the sketch were dated the 7th of February, and they're particularly interesting. Now, I did ask Peter's permission to show you the notes, the notes from the time and from searching the river, and he agreed. And you can see them now on screen. You can see the river. There's the time date stamp, the 7th of February, and the time of the sonar. And this was also known as the hot zone, and Peter really wanted to search the hot zone from the beginning. It was the location close to the bench where Nicola's, the phone had been found, and some distance also from where she was found, this hot zone. So what you see, the top left corner, you see A, B and C. Now A was the boat launch from the day 2, and B was where the boat was launched from, and C is where the Northwest Police dive team site, where the sonar hit dive was, and where that team, if you look at C, it's about 75 metres out from the bench, and a note's adjacent saying that the Northwest Police dive this area with negative result. With negative result.
And other inquiries, and are used to sifting through this enormous amount of information. But SGI have offered their services free of charge to the family. They've researched the river. There's no indication so far that anything that they have indicated through their sonar isn't things that we've already identified ourselves, like debris, trees and the like.
Some of Peter Faulding's comments to the media have led to further speculation. How disappointed have you been by some of those comments that have been made?
Well, I would say to anyone speculating, as I've put out before, it can be distressing to the family, who may think that other people hold information that they don't necessarily. We are experienced investigators. Please let us get on with the inquiry. But Mr. Faulding is working with us, and we genuinely thank him for having brought his equipment up and to give it to the inquiry free of charge, and to continue with his search.